So you want to know how to get more flexible. In today's video, we are going to show you how to mobilize a joint and then strengthen the opposing muscles. This is a hack that has given us massive overnight gains in our flexibility and mobility, and it will do so for you. All that and more coming up right after this. We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image. All right, we're here making jokes about how we never think about what we're going to say in those little intros until we do it, and then we just do it and go with it and roll with it. Now, today's a good show because we're continuing on with our popular flexibility and mobility hacks. We have 7 of these in our flexibility blueprint. If you haven't already downloaded it, the link is in the description. It is a free resource. This is literally a report on the 7 most, profound breakthroughs or lessons that we learned over the last 23 years of training. Most of these have happened within the last 3 to 5 years. So make sure you download that document. It'll also put you on our mailing list and give you the opportunity to work with us when we do so open the doors. We're going to get out on the gym floor again today, and we're going to show you a pretty simple hack, I guess.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, but it's life-changing for us. I was stretching for, if you guys don't know who we are, my name's Rad Burmeister, that's my brother Yanni, and we're the owners of Unity Gym and the creators of the Foundation Movement System. And I'm the flexible guy at the gym. That's what everybody knows me as, because I did martial arts I did Kung Fu for about 15 years, from the age of 17 until 32. And I developed a very mediocre level of flexibility, to say the least. I did not get good. I wasn't consistent with my flexibility training. And all I learned from Kung Fu was Kung Fu, which was how to do Kung Fu forms and how to stretch. And then when I got into out of the army and I started taking my training seriously and started working with people like Ido Portal and my good friend Aaron McKenzie, and learning about gymnastics, strength training, and really just researching why was I not as flexible as I was. And that's how we created the flexibility blueprint. We came up with the 7 key lessons that we've learned over our time of training that have really made breakthroughs for us, and this was a really big one.
Yeah. Well, look, let's dive into it. I've had some feedback that we need to cut to the chase quicker in these, so let's make this short and sweet. Let's dive out on the gym floor. We need to give Richie a couple of seconds to set up the gimbal cam, and then we are going to rock.
So what we're going to do, we're going to take you out on the gym floor, and I'm actually going to be the one talking today and the one demonstrating, because
so I'm going to be a bystander.
Yanni's just going to be sitting there. Mostly because
sit here and look good.
Apparently I'm the one that can demonstrate this the best and the one that can talk about it the best. So,
but he's also got chronic DOMs.
Now, this is, the worst, the thing that I'm the least happy about with this is that I train what I'm about to demonstrate today on Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And in Australia it is Tuesday, which means I am suffering from the worst fucking case of DOMs today that I've had in a long time. My hip flexors are just murdered, and what I'm going to demonstrate, this is an example of what Yanni's playing the violin. This is an example of what we mean by you stretch a muscle, so you create mobility in one muscle and then you strengthen the new range of movement. And there's lots of different ways to do that. So you could, for the middle splits, you could stretch out into the middle splits and stretch, and then you could strengthen that by doing loaded Cossack squats. That's a way of strengthening that range of motion, because you're basically just strengthening your muscles in the end range of motion. That's one example of doing that.
Remember, we're talking about the opposing.
That's exactly right. I just said that's one example of doing that, but that's not what we're doing today. What we're doing today is teaching you how to strengthen the opposing muscle group. So in this case, for a pancake, the pancake stretch, if you haven't seen it or don't know much about it, it's not the splits. I can do the splits, and this is where I'm going to intentionally. I'm intentionally not going all the way out, because we're actually targeting more of the hamstrings than the adductors when you do this. Now, We do loaded pancakes here. I love the loaded pancake. It's like having someone just push down on your back, which is really nice. So an example of creating the flexibility first, or creating a new range of motion. So I'm going to do, we'll do 10 reps like this. So I'm going to go down and back up, down and back up again. Then I'm going to point my toes. And what that does is it just helps to floss the nerve through the muscles. So basically every couple of reps I'm either pointing my toes or pulling them back up. So dorsiflexion or plantar flexion. Okay, and then what I'm going to do on this last rep is, now I'm going to hold it. Okay, and I'm going to now tense my quads, tense my glutes, and try and extend my spine. This is definitely not my best effort because I'm in a lot of DOMs and pain today, but anyway, you get the idea. So if I did 3 sets of that after I'd done a whole lot of other stuff, there's a lot that goes into mobility. So we do a warm-up first, then we do some dynamic stretching for the muscles where you're just bouncing up and down like the ostrich walk that if you watch Yanni do the ostrich walk now quickly. That's an example of dynamic stretching for the hamstrings. So we do all of this first, and I'm doing this stone cold. I'm just coming straight into it to demonstrate. Anyway, so let's say that I've done my 3 sets of that, and I've now created, a new range of motion, flexibility in the pancake. An example of strengthening the opposing muscle groups. So the opposing muscle groups for the hamstrings are the hip flexors. So what I'm looking at strengthening here now is the hip flexor complex. And a good way to do that, so for a beginner you can have your fingers on the ground, and if you're more advanced you can have your palms on the ground. When I do this, I'm not going to be able to talk while I do this. This is an absolute motherfucker of an exercise. It is bloody hard, and with the DOMs that I'm feeling in my quads, I'm not looking forward to this at all. So anyway, I'm going to demonstrate. So here we go. Okay, so I could do 10 of those, and then I could do circles outward. Okay, I could do 10 of those, and then I could do circles inward. Okay, let's say I've done 10. Come together from here, and then I could do a few compression lifts like that. And then to finish off, back into a pancake, and from here, now what I'm going to do is try to tense my quads so that I'm sucking my stomach down and pulling my body down into the ground like that. So that's just an example. And man,
Can you give an example using maybe Moyles in the shoulder? Demonstrate the shoulder rotator cuff one.
You can, because of what's going on with my shoulder. Hey buddy, how are you? That's my nephew, Yanni's son. Yanni's saying, can I demonstrate Moyles, which is called maximum overcoming isometric load with the shoulder. So you want to do the shoulder flexion Moyles?
Well, yeah, it's just something to demonstrate an idea for the upper body as well.
So if you do, grab a dowel rod, Yanni. I've got a shoulder injury right now, so I'm not going to demonstrate this one. Yanni's going to do it. So let's say that you've just spent a whole bunch of time stretching your shoulders into flexion, so creating mobility, overhead mobility. And there's so many ways that you can do that. A really basic way that's very effective is just hanging, so just hanging from a chin-up bar. But if you want to look into some of our videos on overhead mobility, you can see a whole bunch of stuff that we do. So let's say you've created some flexibility overhead, and now we're going to put the dowel rod under an immovable object. So the idea is that Yanni cannot lift this. Now he's going to get his hands under the dowel rod properly.
You do it supinated or pronated?
No, pronated. Yeah. And from here, what he's going to do is try to lift as hard as he can against that object for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. Now he's going to relax for 5, and then we're going to do a second rep. And go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. And now we're going to do a third rep, so a few seconds break. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. Now we remove the immovable object, and as fast and ballistically as he can lift it up, he's going to do 5 reps. That's 1, 2, keep your shoulders down. 3, isolate the movement. 4, 5, and now he holds for lift it up, and 3, 2, 1, relax. You can see how much of a struggle that was for Yanni. Yanni's done absolutely no warm-up, so in all honesty, a lot of people can't even do that even with a warm-up because they don't have enough shoulder flexion, but that's an example of using another tool to create strength in the opposing muscle group that you've just stretched. So you can see on one of them we did the lower body where we've gone into a hip flexion, so a pancake movement where we're creating mobility, flexibility and mobility in the hamstrings and the posterior chain, and then we strengthen by strengthening the opposing muscle groups on the anterior chain, in this case the hip flexors and the abs. And then we've demonstrated an upper body movement where we didn't show you guys the stretching, but if you imagine any kind of stretching that increases shoulder flexion, and then we strengthen the opposing muscle groups, which is all the muscles that create shoulder flexion, so the posterior deltoid, upper traps, all of those muscles. So you want to come back into the room? Yep. So we'll go back into the room now to wrap this up, bring it in for a landing. But you can, and the possibilities for these are endless. Like, I mean, there's so many movements in the body and you can do it for all of them. We do this kind of thing for internal and external rotation. We do it for the middle splits, for the front splits. We do it for internal and external hip rotation. I mean, yeah, the possibilities are just endless.
So I think what the message that we're really driving home with this series of how to get more flexible or how to get flexible shows is that the key to understanding flexibility and mobility is that it's not as much as you think happening in the muscle that you're actually stretching. There is the biggest breakthroughs occur inside your central nervous system. The concept of our body breaking down the inhibitors that have been created over a lifetime of neglect to allow the body to go into that range of movement. And okay, so what does that mean from a practical standpoint? It means that you have to have a creative approach to your flexibility. Just banging out, like the reason why most people never get flexible, and the reason why most people get flexible at the expense of their strength, if they do get flexible,
when they were children.
Or when they were children, is because they don't understand that it's not just stretching. It's not just about elongating and making a tendon more elastic. It's about training the central nervous system and developing end range strength. And the majority of people say, oh, I had a guy yesterday ask me a question via email who's on our subscription list. I'm an athlete. He's an athlete that needs to express explosive force. He's a sprinter. Will getting flexible compromise my power, And the simple answer to that is absolutely not. If anything, it will elongate his career. We worked with a guy, an Australian strength coach, very, very well known, very renowned strength coach for having athletes in the game for a long period of time, Ian King. You guys can look him up. He's got the King Institute, which is a strength and conditioning institute. It's brilliant. He's got a lot of
Olympic
good books.
athletes. He's trained multiple gold medal
That's
Olympic
right.
athletes.
And he's got a history of not injuring his athletes. Now, when we were talking to him last time, he said the single biggest reason why athletes have such a short lifespan is lack of flexibility, lack of active range of movement. And when they're expressing their full range, they're compromising every joint in their body because the joints are fighting one another. You can't express true strength in the absence of mobility. And so the answer to that question is you will absolutely move faster if you can express true range of movement without the joints being restricted. But there's a caveat to that. Because if you spend all day long just elongating tendons, you are going to compromise your strength. You have to, at some point, train your body to be strong in that end range of movement.
Well, I can even take it a step further. What the research shows is that when you stretch, if you do passive stretching, static stretching, then what you do is you lengthen the tendons, but they stay thin, and that makes them prone to injury. Whereas when you do loaded mobility, so that pancake that I was doing just there, that's an example of loaded mobility, which means the muscles that are being stretched under a load, they can't just relax. It's not just like I'm laying down, relaxing while someone pulls my leg over my head. the research shows that that lengthens and thickens the
tendon.
tendons, which means that it makes them much more resilient to injury.
That's exactly right. And this is the key take home from today's lesson, guys. Stretching all day long, sure, you might get mobile. I've seen some yogis that can put their leg over their head, but I guarantee you if they put a barbell on their back, they'd break. So, and I'm not having a go at yoga because I know some very strong yogis as well, but all I'm having a go at is the concept of stretching alone, because it is not good for you. You have to understand that to get flexible, you need to be a little bit more creative, and you need to create a program that's going to stimulate the body in the correct way so that you're not just lengthening the tendons, you're thickening the tendons at the same time. We're going to talk more about this in the next couple of days, and we're going to show you how to put this into a workout. If you haven't already, download that flexibility blueprint. It will give you all of these 7 key principles so that you're ahead of the game. And as we talk about these during the shows, you're going to understand what we're talking about a lot more.
Not only that, if you're in the Movement Mastermind, which means that if you're in our online coaching program, the next big project for me, which I hopefully will have ready in the next couple of weeks, is that I'm filming a video series for you guys specifically on end range strength. I've been talking to you for quite a while about at the start of your journey, just focus on learning the program and on learning the warm up and the basic mobility that we do between sets. Of you that have been with us for a few months now, the next step for you is that you are going to learn the more advanced principles of end range strength, and that is coming at you. And we do that all the time. We're constantly filming and adding to that online course. It's not like you buy it and that's it. So if you're not in it, you're missing out, because for $49 a month, you can get access to some of the best training on the net.
Yeah, and us 24/7.
Oh,
anyway,
right.
Guys, until tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed that. I hope you got something out of that. And tomorrow we're talking more about how to get flexible.
And tomorrow I'm going to find something that is going to really hurt Yanni, that's going to train the exercises that he did today so that you can see him uncomfortable.
Oh, where's the violin?
Have a good day, everyone.
See you guys.
See you later.
Take care. We are the gym that teaches people how to move instead of just exercise, because we believe that health is about performance, not just body image.